This morning, I came across a video about an influencer who was caught faking a beach cleanup. She was posing for the camera with a trash bag, pretending to pick up dirt, while someone filmed her in the background. When the clip exposing her went viral, she did what every influencer does. She posted an apology video. And of course, she was wearing a hoodie. Why is it always a hoodie? Is there some unwritten rule that says step 1, look sad, step 2, wear a hoodie? Step 3, speak in a soft voice so people know you are serious. If I said this didn't make me think, then I'll be lying to you. Because why does expressing yourself feel like a performance? Have you reached a point where even confidence, sadness, and remorse are scripted? If you have to put in an effort to sound normal, are you even being yourself? Does being authentic even exist anymore? Or is everything just a well rehearsed act? Stay with me.
This is sometimes curious, often confused. I'm Richard Okonwo. If you have ever felt a little out of place, you're in the right spot. Here, we explore the questions most people overlook without pretending to have all the answers. The awkward, the oddly relatable, the ones that make you wonder, am I the only one thinking about this? If you are curious enough to keep asking, you are exactly where you need to be.
I know this feeling personally. Sometimes when I'm recording, I catch myself adjusting, changing my tone, overthinking how I come across. Not because I'm faking anything, but because I know that how I sound affects how people interpret me. Like, if I say something in a monotone, it might seem like I don't care. If I add too much energy, it might sound like I'm overcompensating. So, even though I'm just talking, I still have to signal my emotions. And if I'm doing that, then what about everyone else? Why exactly do I feel like I need to signal my emotion while I'm recording? Naturally, I'm not an I wanted to say expressive, but I don't think that's the word for it. Sorry, I didn't look up the word, but I'm going to try and find the word. But basically, I'm not someone that uh, every one of my emotions show when I'm trying to present. Do you understand? Like when I'm recording, like I'm doing now. So there are some times that I will be happy, like I'll be smiling while saying something, but my voice is doing the opposite. And I've actually considered doing a video, you know, to that respect. Like I have considered at some point that maybe the best thing for me to do is just to make use of YouTube rather than an audio podcast. Do you understand? So that that way people can get to see my face and see that hey, this is the expression that he has at this moment. He's not being overly serious. But on the other hand, if I was to do that, I think it will also be contradicting. People will be like, ha, his voice and his face doesn't match. Oh. His voice is sounding serious, but his face says that he's happy. Which one should we believe now? Hey, God. There are sometimes that I've even considered giggling, like when it was not entirely necessary, because I wanted it like to, I wanted people to know that this is a light-hearted topic. And I know that this whole thing is about presentation. You understand? It's about how you present all these things. It matters a lot. It matters as much as the message. Hmm? The messenger matters as much as the message. The delivery, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. The delivery also matters. It matters in a lot of things. It helps to build context. It helps to paint a clearer picture of what exactly is happening. And we cannot underestimate that. So I'm thinking, I mean, there are some things that people present that are strictly for professional purposes. This one I'm doing here is not an example of it. Because this podcast is kind of like my journal at this point. I'm just documenting things I'm observing. You understand? Things that make me curious, things that make me confused, and so on and so forth. And I know that there are people that have professional content where they are supposed to go by certain rules. Now those people are out of the equation. They are not the ones I'm talking about. The ones I'm talking about are the ones that are supposed to be much more relatable. Let me explain. When TikTok became very, very popular, one of the things that made it very popular from the way I see it is People had the opportunity to be awkward without being shy about it. That means people were free to be themselves. And that's what everyone is looking for, because being yourself is a very, very difficult thing. I don't know why people just say it. People throw it around like it's a very easy thing. Actually, being yourself is much more harder than trying to be someone else. Because if you're trying to be someone else, all you have to do is to mimic and copy whatever they do. But to be yourself, you have to actually be yourself. And it's not easy, because you are going to keep cross-checking everything you're doing. Okay, what if this one I'm doing does not meet up with the standard? Okay, what if this one? And it's not supposed to be that way, right? It's supposed to be more like just come as you are. But it's not that easy. It's not that easy. And I'm going to use this podcast as an example again. My first episode, I didn't sound like myself. My first few episodes, I was tense when I was talking. I'm even surprised that I'm less tense now that I'm talking. I guess I'm getting much more comfortable, recording these things. And I hope it gets much better, from here. Maybe by episode 50, I'm going to be screaming. Maybe by episode 50, I will be screaming because I have a loud voice. I have a loud voice, but I'm trying to communicate here. If I was to be shouting here, you will not get the message. You might be like, why does he sound angry? Why is he shouting? You might not even listen to even start with. But um, I'm trying to communicate. So tone is very, very important. And I think I'm making improvements when it comes to trying to communicate with people, like a broader audience. For my family, they understand that I have a loud voice. You understand? I'm quite loud and I shout a lot. Not because I'm angry. I mean, I'm not the only one that does it in my family. It's not everyone that does it, but we tend to raise our voices. It's not because we are angry. Oh. It's not because we are upset. No, it's far from that. Sometimes it stems from excitement. You understand? When we are overexcited or we want to be expressive or want to be assertive of our opinion, we're not trying to be rude, but we tend to raise our voice. It's not doesn't have anything to do with being upset or being angry or being sad or all those emotions. And as easy as it might sound, it's actually a very difficult thing to be able to do around strangers, because most of the time when you do it around people, they'll be like, what are you even doing? Because why are you shouting at me? Are you angry at me? And all those kind of talk. But it takes time, and people get comfortable with it as time goes on. So you should be expecting more by by episode. Let me not give you a number. When you see me screaming, you will know. I might even start doing it in the next episode. So let's talk about another thing, which is confidence. Now, if you go on YouTube and you look up how to be confident, most of the tutorials you are going to be seeing are not actually teaching the core value when it comes to confidence. A lot of them are more focused on how to project confidence, how to look confident. So some will tell you to stand this way, some will tell you to hold eye contact, some will tell you that you should not use weak words, that you should speak slower, and all these things, yada 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 yada. A lot of them are not even talking about how to be confident. It's more about the performance, like this is how you should appear confident. There was one video that I watched some time ago. I can't remember where I saw the video. But the creator was saying something like that a lot of people are not actually confident, that a lot of people are, that are they're just trying to project confidence. They are trying to make people to see them as confident, and that in other words, you joining the bandwagon is not such a bad idea. That you should also try to project confidence, especially if it is difficult for you to be confident. One of these days, I'm going to do an episode not about confidence, but about this idea of putting on a second identity. I mean, it might seem that that's what I'm doing in this episode, but I feel like I need to elaborate more when it comes to do this, do that. A very good example is what happens in the dating scene. You understand? If you listen to most content that have to do with dating, some of them will tell you should reply after 4 minutes. Sorry, 4 minutes. What am I saying? Some will tell you that you should reply after 4 hours so that you will not appear desperate. Don't double text. Don't do this. Don't do that. The one about double text, I support that one. Please don't ever double text. Don't ever double text. Don't double text. Um, I'm not preaching what I'm supposed to be preaching against, but it's true now. If you double text, it kind of sends the wrong message. Well, I don't know if this thing is going to ever get easier from here. Because everything is about do this, do that, do this, do that. This is how you look like this. This is how you look like. But you know that's not your intention. I mean, if I'm enthusiastic and I'm quite engaged in a conversation, I don't think I'm going to be waiting for 2 hours to be reply them. Like I'm someone that likes holding conversation, meaningful conversations. So why do I have to wait for this number of minutes in order to be able to reply? Like it's almost as if I'm denying myself something that I could be using for pleasure. Like it's not as if I'm just doing this thing to this person. I'm also doing it to myself because it's not just about the person, it's also about me. I know I like having conversations. So why do I have to pretend like I'm not that engaged so that I don't look desperate? Is that why? Don't worry, we'll talk about that one later. So that is it about confidence. A lot of people are just about try and appear this way, try and appear that way, and all those things. I don't know. Everything these days it just seems to be about performance. Everyone is just trying to, you're just trying to appear a certain way, appear more confident, do this, do that. You are dressed as you are. How do they say? Sorry, how do they say it again? You are addressed as you dress. Yes, you are addressed as you dress. If you dress this certain way, you're going to be addressed that way, and all those kind of. I beg, I beg, I beg, I beg. I don't tire. I don't tire for all those kind of talk. But they are quite, I don't know if I should say necessary, but they are like some kind of necessary evil because whether you like to do it or not, somehow, you are going to find yourself, practicing those things because it's all about perception at the end of the day, right? It's how these people understand you. It's not like they're not your family members that have known you your whole lifetime. These are people that you're meeting for the first time. And then there is this whole other topic about first impressions and how much they matter. You have to behave this certain way when you meet someone for the first time. If not, they are going to see that you are this kind of a person. I feel like first impression is overrated though. First impression is overrated and people put a lot of effort in first impressions. I mean, they are important. They are important. I think if at this point first impression is put at 10, as in the importance is rated 10 over 10. In my own book, I think first impression is like 6.5. It's not even up to 7. Like it's important, but it's not as important as people are making it out to be. Because if the first impression is okay, but the second impression is not as good as the first one, then I don't know. I'm going to be quite disappointed. Like I prefer some sort of evolution. Do you understand? Some sort of evolution. Um, I appreciate the effort that goes into first impression. I appreciate it so much. But I know that as a person, I still like if things keep getting better. I'm not saying that the person should kill themselves because they are trying to impress you the second time, or they should really try struggle with all their mind because they are trying to give you a better second impression. This is not a fucking franchise. Do you understand? It's only in movies that the part two is expected to be better than the part one. If not, it's going to flop. It's a normal thing that happens with movies. So this is not a movie. But still, it's better you keep that constant energy. I prefer it if you know that your performance that you have performance anxiety, just come as you are. Eh? Person will like you no go stress you. Somebody that you are going to connect with, they are not the ones that are going to stress you. Usually the ones that you will not have anything to do with in the coming years, they are the ones that are going to stress you the most.
This episode is unofficially brought to you by
My own Instagram. Yes. SCOC pod. No, following it won't change your life, but it might add a few more dumb questions to your list. And honestly, isn't that worth something? Just open Instagram, type SCOC pod, that's SCOC pod, and hit the follow button. You can engage with the post, drop a comment, or just lock in the shadows like the professional overthinker that you are. Either way, I see you. Who knows? You might come across something that will make you question everything, or maybe not. Sounds fun, right? Go check it out. Again, SCOC pod. SCOC pod. Thanks for the support. I feel like I went a little far. let's come back. Let us come back. As I said earlier, TikTok is one of those platforms that weirdness trends, and I like it in a way. There is also the part that I don't like because you can't like everything about a platform. The part of it that I like is that it's allowing people to be themselves. You understand? And I understand that it's not comfortable for everyone. I mean, there are a lot of TikTokers that I know that they are weird in my book. Like, they are weird as hell. Like, I'm saying hell because I don't want to use the F word again. I feel like I'm overusing it. But there are some TikTok creators that are just something else. Kind of content that they make. A very good example is the ones that cry in front of the camera, which we all know did not start on TikTok. It started on Instagram, I think. If you put a camera in front of you and you just start crying, I don't know if anyone buys that, but I don't buy it. I don't buy it. There's this guy that I've been following for a while. I actually follow him on Facebook because I use Facebook most of the time. And his content is usually centered around like what's the behind the scene of some TikTok creators would look like. A very good example is those that usually cry before the camera. So someone will set up a camera and start crying. There was this particular video that was about a nurse and she lost a patient. Now, I understand the emotional connection between a nurse and a patient. It's very, very understandable. It transcends professionalism. You understand? It's a very, very strong bond. But this video, this person set up the camera in front of her and she was crying. I don't know how it started, but I don't still buy it. No, I don't buy it. And the reason why I don't buy it is that if someone was videoing you while you were crying, like unaware, you're unaware of the video going on, it's more understandable than like you sat down, you set up your phone camera, decided to video yourself, and then after recording yourself, you ended the video, then went supposedly to what's the name of this app again? CapCut to go and edit it. Added background music, or maybe you not add it there, you add it when you enter the app. That's TikTok, and then you upload it. Sorry, what are we supposed to do with that video? I mean, I'm sorry for the patient that you lost, but what exactly are we supposed to do with that video? Like, what purpose is that video? And I'm trying very hard not to sound like all those early millennials and boomers that will come to the comment section and be looking for meaning in every video. No, that's not what I'm doing. But this particular video, like, I don't even like. Sorry, let me explain what I said earlier. You know, there are these millennials and boomers. They will come to the comment section and every video that they see, they will be looking for meaning. They will be like, "What am I supposed to learn here?" As if everything is supposed to be a learning avenue. No, that's a very different thing. I believe that content serves different purposes to different people. There are some contents that are for educational purposes. There are some that are strictly for entertainment. There are some that are for entertainment, but at the same time, you also learn. I think they call it edutainment. Yes, those ones exist. And, you know, contents are for different things. But this idea of uploading a video of you crying, is it like some kind of documentation for yourself in the future? If you recorded yourself while you were grieving and maybe you saved it on your phone, it would have made a little more sense because maybe I don't know, I don't do it, but let me just assume that you are doing that one for documentation purposes. It will make much more sense. You understand? But this is like a 10 seconds video of you crying with a caption on it talking about the reason why you're crying. And I don't know if anybody buys that. Even when most of these celebrities upload they upload videos that they start crying, all those things they seem like performance. This I don't even know who is genuinely crying on social media again. And to be honest with you, 90% of the time, once they come on my feed or on my for you page, whatever app I'm using, I scroll past it because the thing is just different levels of cringy. I don't understand it. I cannot connect with like I don't understand the points of those kind of videos. I don't understand them. No. Please, if they make sense to you, explain it to me on the comment section on Instagram. I'm going to really, really appreciate it, please. Because I've been trying to understand. I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, how do they say it again? So this idea of vulnerability being scripted, like everyone is just pretending to be vulnerable. Like, don't do that to vulnerability, please. People just started being vulnerable recently. Don't spoil it, please. Now, don't spoil it. Leave it for the genuine ones. And things like confidence, don't like. I'm not in support of you ruining confidence because I think it's a very difficult thing. I don't even know what else I should use as an example, but maybe there are other things that I think will be much more understandable if you were to try to explore or try to ruin, but not vulnerability. Not vulnerability. Please don't do that. Don't do that. It's kind of a new thing. It's a new age thing. It's just recently that people started, becoming more of themselves. People are even talking about their mental health and all those things on social media. Please don't ruin it. Please don't spoil it. Leave it as it is. All right. So I have some questions. If being yourself requires an effort, are you being yourself? I think yes. Yes, it takes effort to be yourself. Being yourself is not as seamless as people think it is because it requires, again, vulnerability. It requires you to accept that you have flaws and that you are ready to come forward with them. It even requires much more brevity, self-acceptance. Yes, it requires much more, like a higher level of self-acceptance for you to be able to come forward with your flaws just as you are. Because there are people that are going to criticize you. Even though it pays because people are going to connect better with you. A lot of people are like, let us be honest with ourselves. A lot of people are nobodies. A lot of us are nobodies. Like we are not in the top percentage. A lot of people are ordinary. Like, I know it is pretty obvious, and we already know that even though we don't say it often. A lot of people are ordinary as ordinary can be. Hmm? And you being yourself, whether it's on social media, in real life, wherever you are being yourself, is a way of you trying to how do I say it? Is a way of you trying to validate your fellow ordinary people, to make them know that even though they are ordinary, even though they don't possess some kind of extraordinary skills or power, whatever it is, that they are still valid, that they are still important, that they still matter, that they don't necessarily have to possess all the strengths in the world, which is one of the things that I like that TikTok did. Yes, you might go ahead and criticize TikTok for the dance videos there, which, spoiler alert, I don't watch dance videos because I'm not such a dance person. But if I was, I know I'll be watching dance videos. But the thing I like that TikTok did is, like, TikTok created a platform for people that even people without extraordinary skills, people with no how do I say it, no supernatural abilities, people that are like human beings, just regular human beings. All those movies you see, people that we have humans, you have vampires, and then you have werewolves. And in those kind of movies, majority of the people are human beings. Do you understand? They are just regular humans. And that is what TikTok is doing. It's kind of giving the humans opportunity, platform to come forward. Do you understand? Come forward with your weirdness. So there are sometimes that the weirdness is being blown out of proportion. So I'm going to talk about that one in the future. But for now, let me just pretend like this is a TikTok appreciation video. I'm not active on the app. I use Facebook more, but kind of like what it does in a way. Though there are a lot of things I don't like about TikTok. We are going to reserve those ones for the future episode. If there's any episode that I promised in this episode that I'm going to do in the future and you are interested in it, please send me a DM on Instagram or send me a mail. The links are going to be in the description. I just thought I should tell you that. So it might make me to, speeding it up. I really enjoyed recording this episode. I enjoyed it. This is by far one of my best episodes, and I hope that more in the future are going to be like this. Are going to be like this. I really enjoyed it. And I hope you did. If you did enjoy this episode and you like this kind of format that I used in this episode, then let me know. I tried to be a little more loose in this episode and speak more freely, much more conversational. Even though it's a monologue that is made in such a way that it appears to be a dialogue. And yeah, I know you understand what I'm saying. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really appreciate you guys so much. And I would really like if you follow on Instagram. The followership on Instagram at this point is quite low. And with how low it is at this point, it's even looking like a parody account. So the followership is quite low. And I would really appreciate if you followed. The username is SCOC at SCOC pod. Sometimes curious, often confused. Thank you so much. If you can also follow me on Instagram on my personal account, I would also appreciate that. I don't post much content on my personal page now, for now, but I'm looking forward to doing that, especially since I have much more free time currently. So I appreciate the support once again. And if you can, please rate this podcast on the app that you are listening. I think for Spotify, you will have to finish one episode or listen to an extent in order to be able to rate it. So I think since you have come this far, you can be able to rate this podcast, rate it on the app that you're listening to it, and write a comment. If the app you're using supports comments, I'm going to be reading them to know what you guys think. Thank you so much once again. I feel like I've said thank you too much. Have I said thank you too much? Yes, that's because I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And until next week, stay curious, stay sharp,